headlines of VTV News. Vietnamese top leader meets with Ireland's Prime Minister. Prime Minister chairs government meeting with construction enterprises. And later on in our world news, UN Security Council seeks to calm the conflict in the Middle East.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello and welcome to VTV News, broadcast live to you from Hanoi. You're with me, Lina Fatman. Here's the top news of the hour. During the state visit to Ireland on a Wednesday morning, local time, Party General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm met with Irish Prime Minister Simon Harris. More on the meeting in the following.
During the meeting, the two leaders expressed satisfaction with the substantial and effective development of bilateral relations. They agreed to enhance delegation exchanges, high-level contacts, and exchanges at all levels, while effectively implementing existing cooperation mechanisms and exploring new frameworks for collaboration in line with the current context. The Vietnamese top leader announced that the Vietnamese government is taking steps to open an embassy in Ireland. He also suggested both sides facilitate access to each other's markets for key products. Vietnam also welcomed Ireland's support for Irish enterprises investing in Vietnam, especially in renewable energy and high-tech agriculture. Additionally, he urged Ireland to quickly complete the ratification process for the EU-Vietnam Investment Protection Agreement. The two leaders agreed to further cooperation in ecological and circular agriculture, the transition to sustainable food systems, aquaculture, digital and green transformation, climate change response, and the promotion of cultural, artistic, sports, and tourism exchanges. On this occasion, both sides issued a joint declaration on promoting the Vietnam-Ireland Cooperation Framework. The joint declaration also outlined cooperation directions in political, diplomatic, security, education and training, trade, investment, and development cooperation.
Party General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm on Thursday met with the Speaker of the Irish Senate, Jerry Buttimer, and Deputy Speaker of the House, Catherine Connolly. The Vietnamese leader emphasized his desire to enhance bilateral parliamentary collaboration. He welcomed the establishment of the Vietnam-Ireland Friendship Parliamentarians Group and the Ireland-Vietnam Parliamentarians Group, highlighting their role in strengthening ties. Both sides agreed to deepen relations through increased delegations, sharing legislative experiences, and participating in policy dialogues. The Vietnamese leader urged Ireland to ratify the Vietnam-EU Investment Protection Agreement and to encourage the European Commission to remove the yellow card on Vietnamese seafood. They also agreed to collaborate on climate change issues. They supported ASEAN's stance on peace, stability, and freedom of navigation in the East Sea, advocating for peaceful dispute resolutions in accordance with international law. On Thursday morning local time, Party General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm met with 15 of Ireland's largest corporations, which are currently investing in or interested in Vietnam. More on the bilateral meeting in the following.
At the meeting, Irish companies affirmed that Vietnam is among their top strategic markets in the region. They talked about their investment in business projects in Vietnam and also proposed ideas for future cooperation, focusing on four key sectors: high technology, agriculture, industry and energy, and healthcare. The Vietnamese top leader addressed the concerns raised by Irish companies regarding Vietnam's prioritized development strategies.
Developing science and technology is now a global trend. We are very excited to hear that Ireland has made tremendous progress in this. Vietnam also aspires to grow and flourish. The country has focused on science and technology and thinks of that as the quickest and best way forward. We have the advantage of leapfrogging, as we haven't been hindered by outdated technological investments. I assure you that Vietnamese authorities will always collaborate, share, and create favorable conditions for foreign enterprises to invest and do business in the country, contributing to the socio-economic development of both Vietnam and Ireland.
The top leader also clarified to Irish companies about Vietnam's development direction in semiconductors, biotechnology, energy, and healthcare. He affirmed that the vision and enthusiasm of businesses wanting to invest in Vietnam would be met with many opportunities since Vietnam is currently among the top 40 economies and showing positive growth even as the global economy faces challenges. On this occasion, the top leader witnessed the signing of a framework cooperation agreement between Vietnam National University in Hanoi and Dublin University of Ireland. He also witnessed the signing of a memorandum of cooperation on other fields, including a financial arrangement agreement between Vietjet and Castlelake. Earlier on Wednesday, the top leader also laid flowers at the National Memorial of Ireland in Dublin.
On Thursday, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính chaired a government meeting with construction enterprises involved in key national projects. More on the meeting in the following.
At the meeting, companies presented several proposals and suggestions to accelerate the implementation of key national projects, including resolving land clearance obstacles, construction cost norms, and loan limits for businesses. They also recommended the authorities clearly define the roles and responsibilities of various ministries regarding industry standards and applying digital technology to transportation projects, particularly high-speed rail. The Prime Minister commended the work ethic, contributions, and dedication of the construction enterprises, particularly in developing the country's infrastructure. He acknowledged that despite the progress, many challenges remain, requiring more effort from all stakeholders to address and overcome them. Looking ahead, to meet the targets set by the 13th Party Congress, including the goal of strategic infrastructure development, the Prime Minister also outlined 6 key tasks to focus on, including breakthroughs in strategic infrastructure, mobilizing diverse resources, focusing on technological development, improving regulations and policies, enhancing self-reliance, and fostering international cooperation.
The government consistently listens to and acknowledges the challenges faced by businesses, while also encouraging and collaborating with them to resolve difficulties and obstacles related to policies, human resources, and resources. All efforts are aimed at ensuring that businesses grow rapidly and sustainably alongside the country.
The Prime Minister called for increasing decentralization, reducing administrative procedures, and lowering compliance costs for businesses. He assigned specific tasks to each relevant agency and urged local authorities to ensure that contractors are not left alone on the construction site. He emphasized the need to create favorable conditions for domestic construction enterprises to grow stronger and more confident in the new era, contributing to the development of the whole nation.
Politburo member, President of the Ho Chi Minh National Academy of Politics and Chairman of the Central Theory Council, Nguyễn Xuân Thắng, had a meeting with World Bank Country Director in Vietnam, Mariam Sherman, in Hanoi on Thursday, briefing the World Bank representative on the Academy's functions as a leading national policy research and consulting hub. He expressed his wish to foster cooperation between the Academy and the bank, especially as Vietnam reflects on 40 years of đổi mới, emphasizing the significance of World Bank reports on the Vietnamese economy, including the Vietnam 2045 report. He asked the World Bank to give recommendations on new directions for Vietnam with a vision to 2045 when Vietnam enters a new starting point, an era of growth. During his working visit to Canada, National Assembly Vice Chairman Nguyễn Đức Hải reaffirmed the importance of parliamentary cooperation in contributing to further promoting the comprehensive partnership between Canada and Vietnam. Both sides agreed to promote delegation exchanges at all levels and support each other at regional and international interparliamentary forums. The Vietnamese National Assembly expressed hope that the Canadian Parliament would support Vietnam in enhancing the capacity of its deputies, share experiences on the supervisory role in implementing international treaties, and assist in constructing an e-parliament and applying the global minimum tax. They also emphasized the importance of resolving maritime disputes peacefully in accordance with international law and the UN Charter. The National Assembly Vice Chairman invited the Canadian Parliament to send representatives to the Francophone Parliamentary Union's Executive Board Conference and the Parliamentary Forum on Cooperation in Agriculture, Food Security and Climate Change in Cần Thơ next year. Coming up next, people with disabilities recover from Typhoon Yagi. And little things that make Hanoians feel proud. Welcome back to VTV News. At the Investment Promotion Conference in Ben Tre Province on Thursday, Deputy Prime Minister Nguyễn Hòa Bình emphasized the event's importance for the province 2050 planning. He noted it as a valuable opportunity for large corporations to explore investment prospects. The Deputy Prime Minister encouraged Ben Tre to leverage its strengths for sustainable development and create an open investment environment in sectors like clean and renewable energy, maritime transport, and high-tech agriculture. During the conference, Ben Tre issued investment policy decisions and registration certificates for 6 projects and signed strategic cooperation agreements with 23 investors totaling $12.52 billion. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính recently signed Official Dispatch 100, urging ministries and local authorities to swiftly implement measures to restore agricultural production affected by Typhoon Yagi. The natural disaster has cost the sector $1 billion in losses. In response, many localities have proactively prepared for the upcoming winter crops.
Village 8 in Tân Lĩnh Commune suffered significant damages after the typhoon. Local authorities have taken measures to support people with corn and vegetable seeds for their upcoming winter crops.
Natural disasters left behind a thick layer of alluvium. The water has receded and the weather is getting better. All is well for planting new crops.
Farmers in Lục Yên district also lost everything. Lamenting their rice fields flattened by mud, residents of Tông Rạng village tried to salvage what they could, hoping for a chance to recover, but their efforts ended in disappointment.
I encouraged villagers to start the winter crops. Fortunately, the district and commune authorities provided us with corn seeds, and people are now preparing to plant them.
Local authorities from the commune to district levels have mobilized forces to help residents clean and rehabilitate their fields. They have also provided financial assistance to households affected by the disaster. Local farmers have collectively chosen short-season crops to generate income.
The commune has mobilized workers and local forces to support farmers in recovery efforts. The commune has also distributed seeds to help people restore production as quickly as possible.
Natural disasters have not only taken away property, but also dashes hope for a bountiful harvest. However, with the determination of local authorities and the resilience of people, this crop will certainly bear fruit.
The lives of many disabled people in Hanoi were turned upside down by Typhoon Yagi. They are now facing numerous difficulties as the typhoon destroyed factories, disrupted their businesses, and damaged vast areas of field crops. However, with strong will and determination, they have gradually recovered from the typhoon impact to rebuild their lives.
Typhoon Yagi caused widespread flooding and submerged field crops in the northern region. Vũ Thị Hiền has suffered a huge loss as her peach garden was devastated by the typhoon. After nearly 20 years of hard work, the typhoon left her family empty-handed. However, the one-legged, strong-willed woman and her husband tried to replant their garden with more than 1,000 new trees.
I planted peach saplings in January, but this tree grew for 3 years. It grew tall enough, but eventually died. The typhoon left me empty-handed.
The peaches now looking like rotten banana peels with their roots damaged. There's nothing left. Now we are waiting for the soil to dry. Then we'll clean up the garden and plant some varieties of vegetables instead. All peach growers in the village have suffered huge losses. Empty-handed, we have to start over again.
Severe flooding triggered by prolonged heavy rains severely affected the carpentry workshop of the Red Heart Handicraft Cooperative in Sopson District. 11 workers with disabilities have been laid off temporarily as all the equipment and machinery are out of order.
People with disabilities are facing numerous difficulties. At least 2 companies were reportedly subject to the typhoon damages worth millions of dollars. We have called on charity organizations to provide support for typhoon-affected people with disabilities. Recently, we have worked with a Japanese charity organization in a plan to support the 2 companies.
I felt so worried and frustrated that I couldn't sleep for several nights. I tried to stay calm to recover from the disasters. Luckily, we can do multiple jobs in the cooperative, so even when the carpentry workshop was temporarily shut down, we could switch to other jobs. We're deeply grateful for the huge support of the government and local authorities, as they have preferential policies for people with disability.
Workers with disabilities in the Red Heart Handicraft Cooperative are still busy finishing their orders to meet customer demands. This beauty spa, as part of the cooperative, has recently opened and is expected to help employees with disabilities stabilize their income. Difficulties caused by Typhoon Yagi have become opportunities for people with disabilities to start new initiatives and change their lives.
Vietnam's forest carbon absorption potential is estimated at 165.6 million tons per year, according to a new data presented at a workshop on forest carbon. The event, organized by the Forestry Department in Hanoi on Thursday morning, focused on creating new financial resources for forest protection and development. The data reveals regional differences in carbon absorption capacity, with the Central Highlands leading at 46 million tons, followed by the South Central Coast at nearly 36.5 million tons. The Southeast and Central Highlands each contribute over 27 million tons, while the Northeast adds more than 12 million tons. The Southwest provides 6 to 7 million tons and the Northwest contributes just over 1.3 million tons. It's important to note that these figures reflect improvements over time rather than forest quality. The workshop aims to accelerate policy development for managing forest carbon credit revenues, particularly to facilitate World Bank payments to localities. On the occasion of the 70th anniversary of Hanoi's Liberation Day, October the 10th, Hanoians have many ways to show their love for the capital city. The long-standing culture of Hanoi is a treasure to many generations of Hanoians as they strive to preserve the local culture and traditions. Join us on our trip to Doi Khe village, Dan Phượng district, to discover how villagers spread their love for the homeland.
To celebrate the 70th anniversary of Hanoi's Liberation Day, Dan Phượng authorities have launched a short filmmaking campaign. Locals are encouraged to make short videos about the local culture and post their products on social media. This is an opportunity for young people to introduce others to the beauty of their homeland.
When I was asked to carry out a program about local culture, I came up with a plan to make a short video introducing it and the legendary heroes who contribute to the founding of this nation. In this way, I want to show my deep love and gratitude for my fatherland.
These villagers are introducing the process of making Ben Tre, a type of steamed rice cake and one of Dan Phượng specialties.
I'm very proud of my hometown specialty.
Eat Ben Tre once and you will remember its taste.
Since the campaign was launched, 129 videos clips have gone viral and 129 check-in spots have been established throughout Dan Phượng district. Locals have donated nearly $81,000 to various programs to introduce the beauty of the local landscape, culture and people.
While visiting check-in spots, young people can feel more proud of their homeland and become more aware of their responsibilities to preserve the local traditions and culture.
The capital city, home to 36 old streets and tunnel-like alleys, with its history spanning more than 8,000 years, holds valuable cultural values that have been passed down through the generations. The beauty of Hanoi is also highlighted in the architecture of French colonial buildings and traditional villages. Hanoi, through the eyes of the locals, is always a place worth living in.
Coming up next in our world news, UN Security Council seeks to calm the conflict in Middle East. And U.S. dock workers strike, halting half of the nation's ocean shipping. The United Nations Security Council held an emergency meeting on Wednesday to address the escalating conflict in the Middle East following a series of Israeli airstrikes and retaliatory actions against Israel. With war ramping up across the Middle East, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres appealed for the violence to end. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to retaliate, and an Iranian commander threatened wider strikes on infrastructure if Israel did so. Reports say that more than 1,000 people have died in Israeli airstrikes over the past 2 weeks. The World Health Organization chief warned on Tuesday that Lebanon's health system was overwhelmed with the influx of injured patients. Many countries and organizations have sent humanitarian aid to Lebanon. Long lines of container ships are queued up outside major U.S. port on a Thursday as the biggest dock workers strike. The labor strike blocks everything from shipments of automobiles to containers filled with Guatemalan bananas and Italian wine. Along with beef, imports of seafood and U.S. exports of chicken are being disrupted. According to a JP Morgan analysis, a strike could cost the economy between 3.8 to 4.5 billion US dollars per day. President Joe Biden and his administration have pressured dock worker employers to bump up their contract offer to land a deal. The European Commission has proposed delaying the enforcement of its landmark EU deforestation regulation by 12 months, pushing the deadline to December the 30th, 2025. The law seeks to ban the import of 7 commodities, including coffee, cocoa, soy, beef, palm oil, rubber, and wood, along with certain derived products linked to deforestation or forest degradation, from entering or being traded in the European market. The law was first scheduled to take effect for larger operators and traders on the 30th of December 2024. However, businesses and farmers believed that the new regulations will negatively impact sustainable agricultural and forestry activities. In March 20 of the 27 EU member states urged Brussels to reconsider and possibly suspend the EU deforestation regulation. The Commission considers that a 12-month additional time to phase in the system is a balanced solution to support operators around the world in securing a smooth implementation from the start. Tokyo already boasts an extensive system of tunnels, drainage channels, and storage cisterns. But like much of the world, Japan is coping with unprecedented weather due to climate change, forcing it to dig once more. Deep below the streets of Tokyo, a colossal tunneling machine has ground a path through the earth. The shield tunneling machine lays concrete walls as it goes, leaving behind a 4.5-kilometer tunnel designed to capture vast quantities of rain that might otherwise flood the homes above.
On August 30th, Tokyo's flood defenses went into action as water began flooding into a cavernous chamber known as the underground cathedral north of Tokyo. The gushing water, captured by subterranean security cameras, was rain pouring into the capital region as Typhoon Shanshan lashed southwest Japan. The cavernous expanse has enough volume to fit almost 100 Olympic-sized swimming pools of water. Inside are 59 massive pillars, each weighing 500 tons and stretching 18 meters to the ceiling. When nearby rivers flood, the overflow courses through 6.3 kilometers of massive underground tunnels before collecting in the underground cathedral, officially known as the Metropolitan Outer Area Underground Discharge Channel.
This facility turns 23 this year. In those 23 years, it's been used for water inflow 147 times, so up to 7 times a year. We estimate that we have mitigated over 150 billion yen in damage.
The basic cause is that as the temperature rises, the amount of water vapor in the atmosphere increases, meaning that relatively larger quantities of rain fall. We are now in a long-term warming trend, so we anticipate that previously unseen record amounts of rain will fall as the temperature rises in future.
As the climate continues to warm due to the effect of man-made emissions, Tokyo's rainfall looks set to lay an even heavier burden on the city's flood defenses.
And now let's take a look at the weather forecast. And that's it for this edition of VTV News. Thank you very much for watching. To rewatch our program, you can download VTVgo from App Store, Google Play, or tune in our YouTube channel at youtube.com/VTV4Go. Goodbye for now.